Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. I'm AJ Casada, co-founder of Revenue Boost, where we help B2B companies get appointments through cold email outreach. And I'm super excited to have my good friend Aman Ghataura on the podcast today, who's the co-founder of the Media Engine, which is an agency that helps agencies and coaches and consultants get leads and grow and generate revenue specifically through LinkedIn. And he's got a really unique playbook for LinkedIn that combines ads, organic, and DMs. And actually, funny enough, when I was preparing for the show today and just looking into some of the work they've done, I noticed that I know a lot of the clients and some of the people that I know that are crushing it on LinkedIn. Actually, Aman is the one running it, and I think you guys have run like 173 LinkedIn accounts before, right? So you guys have
nearly 200 now. We need to update that number.
Yeah, that's amazing. And actually, our two weeks ago we had Nick Avaria on the show, and I just realized he was one of your clients too. So small world, the marketing world. But anyways, dude, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to dive in today.
Thank you, man. Excited to be here. And LinkedIn's changed a lot, so I'm happy to give away that playbook and teach you guys what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. So excited to dive into that. And I know there was one recent client of yours that posted on one of the communities we're in, a 7-figure e-com agency that landed 25 calls in the last 30 days with 8 to 9-figure e-commerce brands. So I think we could just get into that as a starting point and then talk about the playbook and what worked for them. Because I know personally, like we were chatting earlier, that e-com is freaking hard. Like booking appointments for e-commerce brands is hard because it's just so competitive and there's just so many of them that just do the exact same thing, right? So yeah, really excited to see how you were able to break through that. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so there was this e-com agency we're working with pretty recently, and they've absolutely crushed on LinkedIn. And it took us a good 75 days to make it crush. And what that means is testing a lot of different posts and formats. But on a super, super high level, what happened with this account is we were posting content that was really specific to an 8 or 9-figure e-com brand head of marketing or VP marketing. And when I say specific to them, I mean it was talking about very specific challenges that those people have, but then explaining how to solve that challenge in a very complicated way. So what that basically means is, imagine you said your problem with cold email is that you have a bad open rate. And imagine your framework for explaining that was you need to have spin tags, you need to have deliverability issues, you need to use 20 different inboxes. You explain it in a very complicated way, basically, and it basically creates a lot of confusion / it opens a question loop in the brain of the reader, which is, am I doing something wrong? And that question loop is hey, I need to follow this guy for more information. I need to get into contact with him. And that is the beginning of the funnel. So stage 1 of this e-com agency was create content that creates a question loop. Am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something right? How do I do it better? And then the rest of that funnel is what we do on LinkedIn, which is we run ads to boost that content into the ICP. So you may or may not know that LinkedIn organic impressions are slowly coming down. It's not going down really fast, but they're slowly teetering down. It's the same way that Facebook began to lower organic impressions years ago when people started using their feed a bit more.
Yeah.
And as a result, I can see the way the trend is moving, and it's good to start guaranteeing your impressions into your ICP. So if you know you have good content and you just needs to get pushed into your ICP, we can just turn on some ads, basically upload a list of your exact customer onto LinkedIn and say, I really want to send this content in front of these 5,000 people. We force that distribution, and so therefore we know, and I can see on the back end in LinkedIn Ads Manager exactly which 8 and 9-figure e-com brands are looking at his content. So I know which people are looking at his content, I know which ones are where, I know that there's a question that's being created, and at which point the conversion elements are, let's DM them, let's have a conversation, or they're just going to come inbound to us because the way we position this specific profile was very unique to the rest of the market. And that's quite important in our playbook, which I can get into later. But short story, 7-figure e-com agency books 25 calls with brands that I think every e-com agency wants, every CRO agency wants. And not every e-com agency can do this. To be completely frank with you, I don't want to create bad expectations on this podcast. This is not able to be done by everyone, but I'll explain the bits how we can do it.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to get into the unique positioning elements. But talk a little bit about the thought leader ads, because I've seen you posting a lot about that. And I think last time we caught up a couple months ago, you had started to mention that was happening. So you've been doing this for a while. You've worked across so many different clients. What are the shifts you're seeing in what's working now in LinkedIn, and how exactly the thought leader ads come into play? And I guess first, what are thought leader ads?
Yeah, good question. So a thought leader ad, so if you just think about ads in general on LinkedIn, you've probably seen hey, this SaaS company saying, hey, you can save billing expenses by using our software. Here's a free trial. And these ads come up in your feed and they're coming from other companies. So it's like a company name and it says promoted and it says the ad on it, and you probably just ignore it. There's a learn more button, you move on. There's an alternative way to do ads on LinkedIn, which is pretty new. It's been around for about a year now, but it's starting to build traction. And it's called a thought leader ad. So instead of the ad coming from a company page, it's coming from your personal page, like your literal personal profile. And as a result, it doesn't look like an ad. It's the heyday of, this is like the perfect day. Like you want ads that don't look like ads. This is like the perfect situation. So it has your name on it, has your profile. It says the word promoted or sponsored really small, like super small. And the ad is just the post that you did organically. So what's happening is you post organically, you go into the ads manager, you can click a few buttons, and this organic post can become an ad. It can retain all its social engagement. So it already has social proof attached to it. It doesn't look like an ad. It's coming from your personal profile. So now you're going to get followers. You're going to build personal brand. And the third really interesting thing is you can edit your organic post before you send it as an ad. So you can add links, CTAs. You can change your hooks. You can do whatever you want to that post.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Before it gets promoted and retain the social engagement that you had, which means that this ad is just going to absolutely rip if you can do it the right way.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have been seeing a lot of them. And actually, so we're a partner with Instantly.ai, a cold email tool, and they had boosted a couple of my posts, which I thought was interesting, right? Like you could just boost anyone else's posts that's talking positively about your brand or partner with them, right? And then now we're on like an ongoing thing where it's a win-win because I get more exposure to my posts if I just mention Instantly, which I always do anyway because we use them as like the core of our agency. So then they get these ads that just all look like third party, well, they all are third party endorsements, right? Which is the best kind of ad you can have. But yeah, I love how natural it looks because honestly, the weird thing about LinkedIn is you never see any post or ad from like a company. You might see the ads. I never see a post. I do see ads sometimes, but we just kind of scroll right past them, right? Because we're on LinkedIn to connect with other people.
Yeah. Imagine like you saw an ad from Instantly that's like Instantly now gives you like pre-warmed inboxes, which is what they do. And it's like Instantly. And then it's like AJ Casada goes, here's how I ramp up cold email campaigns for my agency clients in under 3 days.
Yeah.
Which one am I going to read? Like, it's obviously the latter. And then you can tag Instantly. I'm obviously going to be like, oh, shit, I need to use Instantly. That's the guy to use.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's really smart that they released that feature. I'm excited to try it out. So if someone wants to start doing thought leader ads, like what is the first step? Do you have, for your clients, are you boosting, like, are you taking posts that have worked pretty well, then boosting them further, or are you boosting them from the beginning?
So the way it works is, and let's go like back a couple steps here. The very first thing we have to do on LinkedIn is we have to recognize that most services, most providers, most agencies, most SaaS, you're kind of commoditized. Like I'm going to be like quite like frank with everyone here. There's very little that's different between you and another company if you like boil it down to its core features and products. So like the question is like, why should anyone choose to work with you as opposed to your competitor? And we drill it down to like 3 basic factors here. We say that's your edge, and we say well, it's the stuff that makes you safe. So your case studies, your statements. Maybe you can say, hey, I've worked with 100 LinkedIn accounts. Maybe I've written 6,000 posts. These little statements are what make you safe for someone to buy from. Or it can be, hey, I helped an e-com agency book 25 calls with 8-figure e-com brands. Like these are things that are making me safe. So I'm beginning to stand out here. The second thing that gives you your edge is stuff that makes you look different. So the issue that I find with most agencies particularly is that we all have the same mechanisms to get results. Like you have to build a list and you warm up your campaigns and like so forth. And this is the process that you go through, and it's standardized, it's productized, but there are things that you do that are slightly unique and interesting. And if we can identify the different and unique mechanisms in your process and we speak about them, you can begin to stand out. So this whole conversation is about thought leadership ads. It's a new mechanism. It's different. And so that's why people are paying attention right now. So I'm both safe and I'm both different at the moment. And then finally, you need to be specific. So I've actively said the word agency about 6 times in the last 3 minutes. So I'm being very specific to an agency owner right now. Right. And if you do safe, different, and specific with your LinkedIn posts, you begin to create really good content. So the very first stem is like, how do I create awesome content that makes me look safe, different, and specific to my ICP?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and as a result of doing this, you begin to create these posts, and there's like a framework which we have for creating posts, and I'm going to briefly explain it. It's called pain, process, and trend, which means you can either do posts that are about pain. So talk about a pain that your customer has and just make them find and realize that actually it's normal or it's accepted and there is a way to get around that pain. Two is process posts. So like, have you seen those listicles on LinkedIn? Like, here's 7 steps to run an ABM strategy, or here's 5 tech stack tools to use for your cold email. These are process posts. People can look at them, engage with them, like, oh, that's educational. I'm going to save that for me. So I'm being educated by you. Kind of making you feel safe, right? And then the third is trend posts. So we brand jack and we trend jack. I might say, for example, Google stock dropped 4% because of Gemini's release. We used it on LinkedIn content and it's absolutely ripping.
Yeah.
I'm jumping on a trend just to get the impression. So if we do these 3 posts, again, pain, process, and trend, and we layer it with being safe, different, and specific, you create amazing content. That content absolutely smacks. And that content does 2 things. It either gets you a bunch of followers with your ICP, or it gets you leads with your ICP. So step 1 is understand your positioning, create these posts, and you'll begin to see organically some posts get you leads and some posts get you followers. At which point, let's say we've done 100 posts, you will find that around 10 of your posts, so 10% of your posts, are interesting for some reason. Maybe they've generated like a bunch of followers that were VPs of marketing. Maybe they didn't come leads, but like us, people are interested in this post. Or maybe certain posts generated you leads. Those are the posts that we're going to graduate in our system. And when I say graduate, I mean like we're going to move over, we're going to run these as ads now. Because they've proven to us organically that they've worked. And when I go and boost them in ads, I'm not taking a risk with my ad spend. Like I know it's worked organically, which is the hardest place to work, FYI. Therefore, if I'm able to push it into paid, I should see some sort of positive response from people seeing it. Does that make sense, like a high level?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I'm glad you went to the positioning. I mean, just like the ecom example you shared before, these, like probably a lot of ecom agencies, they're sitting down saying, okay, let's make content about e-commerce, right? Or content that's useful to e-commerce brands. But you specifically said they were making content around high level problems that marketing directors would understand at 8 to 9 figure brands. So that's definitely, yeah, very powerful being that specific.
And I can be like, we can get really specific with those problems. Like think about it, like what is the problem where, how to run a marketing forecast when you have retail running Google ads, Facebook ads, and maybe you want to go to TikTok. How do you do that marketing budget? Like that's a specific problem that a VP of marketing has at an 8-figure ecom brand.
Yeah.
Or, for example, how do we know that the ads in Texas have reduced an uplift in our conversions in those retail stores? How do we do an incrementality test? Like these are like complex, sophisticated ideas that only a big brand would understand or relate to or even give a shit about. And the best thing is no one's saying those ideas. So who else? They have no one else to follow except from you in the grand scheme of things. So the person you attract is very much related to the sophistication of your own ideas and your own content and what you can bring out from there.
Yeah. So with content like that, would it be fair to say that you're not expecting them to get a lot of likes or comments? Like those are typically, that's not what you're going for there, right?
Yeah, typically they won't get many likes or comments, but there are posts that do. So if you think about like your ICP, let's change the agency. Let's do a CRO agency. So conversion rate optimization, and these guys are, let's say they're working with SaaS brands, just to change it up again. There are multiple problems that a 7-figure, 8-figure SaaS brand has when it comes to CRO. Maybe it's like I don't have any analytics set up to measure my A/B test. Maybe it's I have lots of tests to do, but I don't know which ones I should prioritize. Now, if you notice that those 2 problems, maybe they're specific to the 8-figure brand, but they also relate to 6-figure brands and 5-figure brands, which is fine because if they relate to more people, you're going to get more likes anyway. So different pains will relate to different breadths of people, and that's okay. So some will get more likes. One of our pain posts for this particular client gets lots of likes, and other ones get very few likes when we mention the word LTV, for example. It turns out not many unsophisticated people care about LTV, but everyone cares about CAC.
Yeah.
So you can begin to like work out there are different pains associated with different types of sizes, but you can change them up and it's completely fine.
Yeah, for sure. So I'd imagine if you're taking on a client that has a lot of different ICPs, this is pretty difficult. If they have already focused on, you have to wrangle them into focusing on one, right?
Exactly. But I've worked with like a lot of clients in like various bases. So we've done it on like a done for you basis where we do all the work. And then we also have these like 90-day, 100-day sprints where we do like a one-on-one with me. And we, for like 12 to 16 weeks, we're going to build this whole thing out, give you the system, even help you hire if you need to internally for that system. And a lot of my good clients, let's say 2nd or 3rd time founders or people that have got like established businesses naturally have a couple of ICPs. Like it's kind of happened because of referrals, because of the way it's worked out.
Yeah.
And what I say to them and what I say to anyone listening to this is LinkedIn is not permanent. You can have a temporary ICP on LinkedIn for 3 months or 6 months. It's not going to break your business. Your referrals are still going to come because they're coming because they like you and they like your network. You're not going to lose any of your SEO traffic. You're not going to lose any of your webinar traffic. If you just say, like, I'm going to focus on an ICP for 3 to 6 months on LinkedIn, it is completely fine and it will not decimate your business. It won't do anything to it. In fact, it will make it better because you've, at least on that channel, got a bit more focused. So take it as a temporary thing. Take it as like a 3, 6, 9 month experiment and give it a go.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But either way, definitely focus on one. So like in our case, we work with a lot of B2B SaaS and then also agencies. So if I was going to follow your strategy, I would just commit to one for a period of time and only post about that on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, exactly. It depends. If you're going for early stage, so they're going for early stage B2B SaaS and early stage agencies, you can probably get away with just saying both because they kind of have, at the earliest stage, they kind of have similar challenges.
Yeah.
But let's say we're going later stage. Let's say we're going series A and you're like, okay, there's B2B SaaS, there's PLG and there's SLG. Like you have product-led growth or you have, am I going to go for the free trial guys or can you go for the book a demo guys?
Right.
So it depends at what stage you're speaking to as well. Like if you go early stage, you can pretty much speak to everyone. It's okay because they all have the same pain points. The second you begin to specialize into like 50 plus employees or have to raise money, it begins to get specific.
Yeah, so I guess it's not like you necessarily would be calling out the niche in the post. I mean, you can do that, but you can also just talk about the problems and the processes that would be useful to both, right?
Yeah, but or you can also do just to like, stir the pot a bit, you can do a hook that says, last week I spoke to 3 Series B VP of marketings. I'm calling out my niche, but I'm making it a story. They told me 4 things that are really interesting that's happening in the product-led growth ecosystem in SaaS, which might decimate how we build SaaS forever. Whatever that post is calling out the niche, calling out a pain point, the fear of something going wrong in the PLG space, the fact that AI is coming and changing everything. Like we can begin to create problems and the niche at the same time by just changing the words in our hook.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it sounds like just to kind of summarize this, in terms of the posts that are going to thought leader ads, you're not necessarily making posts with the thought leader ads in mind. You're just doing the regular content strategy of, process, pain, and trends, and then just picking those certain posts from those to actually go into the thought leader, right?
Exactly. Because when we were creating that content in the beginning, the goal is always leads anyway, in some sense, or goal or like ICP or qualified impressions. Like the goal is actually consistent with the thought leader goal.
Yeah.
And we have the chance to edit a post after it goes organically. So I don't need to like make it look like a thought leader ad on the organic post because I can just change it a little bit if I need to. So I can add a CTA link. I can maybe I'm going to change the hook a little bit and actually call out the ICP's job title in my thought leader ad, but I wouldn't do it on the organic post because that might kill the reach. So you can change things ever so slightly.
Yeah, that's really smart though, editing it right before. So, yeah, that's awesome. So when it comes to actually launching the thought leader ads, now that we're spending money on ads, right, we have to get a return. So what are you doing to make sure they convert? So you mentioned adding a CTA. Are you normally adding a CTA to like book a call or it's not always or?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things we have to do to like get good ROI on LinkedIn ads. There's like the step before, which is you need to upload your audience to LinkedIn. So I want to flag to anyone doing LinkedIn ads trying to do it themselves right now. It is an absolute manual beast. Like if you've done Facebook ads and you're like, oh, it's easy. I just chuck in ad creators. I put in like an ABO or a CBO and it finds my audience for me. That is not true on LinkedIn. In fact, it's the complete opposite. There is no real like AI to LinkedIn that goes, I'm going to find people that are in market. Instead, it literally goes, who do you want to advertise to? We're going to put those ads in front of those job titles or seniorities or functions. So if you say, I want to speak to every manager level person in the marketing world in the US that works at a industry called software development, which could mean anything in the grand scheme of things, your ads could go really wrong really quick and you could burn through a lot of budget because everyone knows here, LinkedIn ads are expensive. The CPM is really high. So it's very easy to burn budget. So what you have to do is your very first step, you have to go and scrape a list from Apollo, ZoomInfo, use Clay, enrich it, and get a list of every company you want to speak to. And when I say verify your list, I mean, I want you to manually go through and check every single row. And it's only going to be 1,000 companies. I know it's painful, but imagine you're putting money behind every single one of these companies. So manually check every single row and upload that list to LinkedIn ads. And now you know, whenever you put a single ad out, every single impression goes out, it's going out to the exact company that you want to see it. So the very first step is like, just make sure the targeting is 100% spot on. Upload your audience that you want to sell to into LinkedIn ads. step two of getting that ROI, and you mentioned it quite well, is like we need to add some sort of CTA or call to action to get them to take the next step. Now, FYI, I have found you sometimes don't even need to do that because people are savvy enough on LinkedIn to like want to come inbound if they have enough of a pain or desire.
Right.
But we like to just add CTA saying, visit my website, check out, book a demo, drop me an email. Here's my email, like a little CTA, or drop me a DM, or maybe comment for the playbook. I'm sure you've seen the lead magnet post. We can also boost lead magnet posts and give away resources. So you can do any one of these CTAs, but it just encourages that next step of interaction. Maybe they're going to view your profile now. And the next stage is this lead is either in your CRM, maybe they've done something, maybe they're in your inbox, maybe they've booked in a call with you. You now need to do this manual job of giving them a message and telling them, I've seen you, I know you exist, and let's have a conversation in the DMs. And it's well worth that energy there, because the deal size you're probably looking at, if you're on LinkedIn, is at least 15, 20K LT minimum. I've got clients that make 100K a year from their clients. I've got clients that make 500K a year from their clients. Like a single DM is probably worth thousands of dollars in like ROI, let's say. So the steps to get conversions are upload your list, add CTAs, and then make those DMs, make those conversations happen when you see someone that's engaged, that showed intent, so that you can begin to work that lead through the funnel.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely worth the time to do GMs, because the buyers on LinkedIn are great. Like, it's really where you're going to meet the high end buyers and get your biggest deals from. I'm sure you've probably seen some of your clients close massive deals from, like, some of their biggest deals from LinkedIn alone.
Crazy. Yeah. We've signed our biggest deals from LinkedIn. I found that across all our clients, there are deals that you just cannot access through a cold outbound message of a certain size if you don't have a really unique way in.
Yeah.
And that's like, and there'll be the same vice versa on LinkedIn, but there's some deals you just can't access, and you need to like infiltrate their organization in different ways. And some deals you need to have multi-channel, like it needs to be like this, they've seen your content loads and then you drop them the cold email. Because at that point, it's like, it's not even cold anymore. It's like a warm outbound message to begin a conversation. So I 100% agree that like there are deals that you just cannot access unless you use LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So you're never just letting LinkedIn do its own thing with targeting. You're always having a specific pre-vetted list.
Yeah, pre-vetted list. And there's some really cool things on LinkedIn that you can do. Specifically, there was one amazing thing. LinkedIn tells you which companies have received impressions and which companies have clicked and which companies are engaging. So on LinkedIn Ads Manager, after let's say you spent $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is, you can begin to see, oh my God, look at this. Netflix got 300 of my impressions and we had 10 clicks. And I was only advertising to heads of marketing. So therefore, it must be the head of marketing at Netflix who clicked on my ad. You can begin to make these inferences. And there is no other ad platform that I know of that lets you upload a list this clean and then tells you which companies clicked on your ads or received impressions. So you are very much aware at this point who is aware of your company. And I think that's like one of the biggest problems in marketing. You don't know who, you can advertise all you want, but you don't know who actually is in the awareness stage or who is in the engagement stage. Like now we know with LinkedIn ads. That's like an incredibly special thing to happen.
Yeah, that is really powerful, because I don't know of any other platform that does that. Like on Facebook, you don't get anything about that.
Yeah, you just get
other than like
clicks,
whatever who would engage on the post, or but then it's just people anyway.
Exactly. And you track at the end, you say, oh, there's an email that came in, everyone puts their personal emails in, so you have no idea who filled out what until you get on a call with them. And maybe 3 weeks down the line on a Facebook, you're like, oh crap, my ad was speaking to the wrong persona, and I need to go back and fix the ad again. Completely fine, but that's like the game that you play with Facebook ads. With LinkedIn ads, at least you know you're speaking to the right person. It solves half the problem.
Yeah, we had a client that was running LinkedIn ads, and we were cold emailing the impressions of LinkedIn ads, because there was I think a tool called Fibbler where that could export the people that view the ads, and then just we could send a cold email to them right away. So that's I was amazed that we could get all that data on like who engaged and who viewed the post and all of that.
Yeah, that's an awesome, like, so there's a few tools in like the LinkedIn ad space that do really well. You can do everything manually, FYI. You can just use LinkedIn Ads Manager. But there comes to a point where you're spending enough money that you're like, I want to automate this system, and maybe you go to AJ for that. We don't do the full automation piece here, and we set it up for you. But what it looks like is connect some APIs from LinkedIn Ads Manager into a spreadsheet, and you can use a tool like Fibbler or Zen APA, ABM, or like Supermetrics or whatever. Like use this tool, connect the APIs, and get a list of every company and person that's engaging, basically, and then push that into Clay. double qualify it again, and then push it into your outreach tool, which it might be Instantly, it might be Smart Lead, whatever it's going to be. And that whole tech stack can become very, very automated very quickly, especially if you're racking up impressions and you're spending good budget.
Yeah, for sure. This is really fascinating because I've never run LinkedIn ads before, so it's just cool to see like how powerful it is. Like I'm gonna go just try to build this. Like right after the call, like I definitely have a couple of posts I can boost. But I think yeah. I mean, I guess the first question comes to mind is like, what budget should people start with, right? Is there like a minimum budget you recommend for your clients? And then also, at what point do you evaluate and turn ads on or off, right? Like, how are you evaluating if it's worth keeping the different creatives up?
Yeah. So the first budget, like how much should you spend on LinkedIn ads? I'm gonna give you like two answers. One like a generic one, and then one I'm gonna give you like a mathematical one to like if people like really want that technical answer to it. So the general one is like spend at least $1,000.
Yeah.
Like if you're spending anything below that, it's like there's no point.
It's not worth
Ideally,
the time,
like 1, 2, 3K a month, and you're advertising to an audience of like 5,000 people. Like you can make the audience as LinkedIn work. The technical answer to this is there is a formula. It goes, and I'm going to say it out loud, and maybe anyone's like going to write it down as I say it. But it's your ad spend is your audience size multiplied by your CPM, so how much it costs to advertise that audience, and let's say it's between $50 and $250 on LinkedIn ads. Can be a bit expensive. Times it by the rate at which you think the audience is active on LinkedIn. Let's assume 50%, because not everyone uses LinkedIn. Then you times it by the number of times, the frequency that you want someone to see your ad. And a good number to go for is like 5 to 7. So let's just say 5. So you can take a TAM of 5,000 people, times it by a $50 CPM, so we're at $50 CPM, so like 25,000. Times it by a frequency of 5, so we're at 125,000. Times it by 50%, so we half it, 75,000, and divide it by 1,000 because we had said CPM. So like you're looking at a $750 budget just to get in front of these people 5 times. So it's not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things, if your CPM is low and your audience size is appropriate. If you change your audience size and your CPM, that number can wildly vary, up to around 3, 4, 5K. So that's the answer to how much budget you should spend. So short answer, 1K to 3K. Long answer, do some maths. Drop me a DM if you want to see a PM estimate, and we can work that out.
For sure. I hope everyone was writing that down. That was a very good equation.
Yeah.
I'm a simple guy. I'll just take the 1, 2, 3K month and run it. But I know some people, especially some of the agencies or marketers listening to this, love that technical 100%. Breakdown and a good spreadsheet.
Exactly. And then your question was like, how do you know when to turn an ad on or off? Like that is like really actually quite hard. And I'll tell you why. The cost to book a call with a brand, like for whatever thing when you want on LinkedIn, is going to be high. It's going to be like $500, $1,000 maybe. So like you got to spend a fair bit to get that conversion to come through. So if you said, I'm only going to spend $1,000 and it's going to cost me $70 to book a call, let's assume you're going to get one conversion. So imagine your ads manager at the end of the month, you've got 10 ads running and you see one conversion. Do you turn off every other ad except the one that got the conversion, knowing that there's nothing statistically significant about it, that maybe the other ads influence that decision making? So you have to either run big budgets, which maybe not everyone on this call can do, or maybe you can, and that's awesome. Or maybe you have to create like smaller conversion events, maybe like a lead magnet or an email sign up. Or two, which the thing that we do right now is we look at earlier signals. And earlier signals are stuff like, one is dwell time. So LinkedIn tells you how much time someone spent looking at your post on average. Again, an amazing feature that no other ad platform does. So you can say like, oh my God, someone spent 7 seconds looking at this ad and it had maybe a click-through rate of like, I don't know, 1%. And another ad might say we have a dwell time of 10 seconds and a click-through rate of 2%. So I'm like, well, that ad arguably is keeping people for longer, getting more clicks. So I'm going to keep that ad. So you have to look at earlier metrics in the funnel on LinkedIn. And then finally, we look at this metric called penetration rate on LinkedIn. You can actually measure, which is amazing on LinkedIn, what percentage of your audience received impressions. So again, imagine you've uploaded this audience of 1,000 companies. I can say 60% of those companies have received my ads. So I can begin to say, okay, do I want to increase my budget now to force that go to like 70% maybe, if I can push it? Or am I happy that everyone's seen my ad at least once? So you can measure your budget and how much you want to spend and when you want to turn ads and ads off by looking at these early indicators. And then you measure the fact that you're trying to get in front of people and make sure that they see your content so they trust you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So similar to Facebook, if you're not getting enough conversions, you'll look at the earlier metrics or just optimize for something else like a lead magnet download or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. So zooming out of the ad side, what else can you share with the audience here about content best practices? So I love that framework of just the three types of posts to write, because I think a lot of people just wonder, like, what posts do I write? Like, specifically, what posts are actually going to generate leads? But beyond that, what are some of the best practices around formatting or copy, or just anything that you see makes an impact with your clients?
Yeah, so I can briefly run you through, like, let's say you're posting on LinkedIn. I'm gonna make an assumption here, and like you want to get more impressions or you want to get more leads. There's like a hierarchy which you should work through to diagnose your problem so that you can better get impressions, better get leads. And in terms of like your post performance, this is what matters. The first thing that matters most is the idea, then it's the hook, then it's the image, then it's the formatting, and then it's the CTA. So let's work straight to the top. What is the idea of your post? The better the idea of the post is, the better it's going to perform. So if your idea of your post is, we helped a company get really good results, these are the results they got, and here's how we did it, and the way you tell me you did it, you go, I ran some ads, that's a really bad idea. Like, it's just, you can do whatever you want to the hook, whatever you want to the images, it's just not going to land. If your idea is, we helped this company get amazing results, and we did it by doing the exact opposite of everyone else, and here's the exact opposite thing we did, and the step-by-step guide to copy it, that's a really good idea now, because it's unique, it's different, it's interesting, there's a bit of safety with it, with the case study, and it's going to perform much better. So the very first thing I suggest you do when you're looking at LinkedIn posts is, like, come up with ideas of posts that are going to more likely get engagement or get interested by people. And you can sign those ideas by simply scrolling around on LinkedIn and seeing what's getting likes and engagement. It's a big telltale sign that this post is getting engagement because the idea is in something about this idea is interesting first. It's very, very rare that a post will do well if the idea sucks.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. After you get the idea, like, okay, I found the right idea. The next thing I'll say is focus on your hook and your image. And the small little things you can do to your hook is making it, and this is a very new thing in the LinkedIn algorithm, don't make it look salesy whatsoever. The second you signal like sales breath, impressions drop. So for example, we helped a client get a result. If you do this in your hook, you must accept that your impression is going to drop. It's great for getting leads, don't get me wrong, but your impressions will drop through the roof. But there are clever ways to get around a case study post without making it salesy. For example, you could say, this ad, I just found that this ad got a 3x CPA, got a 5x ROAS. This is how it works. It might be your ad. It doesn't sound like it's mine. It doesn't sound like I'm selling at this moment in time. So there are ways where you can, like, not look salesy in your hook. And typically that's one of the best ways to grow on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So there's a few things there. But if you want to get traction on LinkedIn and you want to get leads, likes, get really good ideas, and then focus on your hooks to basically not look salesy and look interesting and look unique and novel.
Yeah, and it really is easy just to go on your feed and just look at, like, what's trending and what posts are, like, showing up with the most engagement. Are there any other tools you use to research, like, viral topics or, like, what's working in your space? Or is it just as simple as that?
Unfortunately, like, LinkedIn had a big crackdown on SaaS tools recently. So Clio, which was one of the best tools to, like, scroll the feed and, like, basically check the top post of every profile, basically had to change their whole tool because LinkedIn cracked down on them. I had a tool called Feed Engine, which would do the same thing, and I just basically found that running a SaaS tool and an agency and a coach consulting business is very hard, so I stopped doing the SaaS thing. But there are not many good tools to find inspiration for posts, unfortunately. So what I do instead is I have a list of competitors that I like, or people that I like, and I basically go through their profiles and just look at their content and look for what, like, outliers look like. You can, if you scroll through someone's content, you're like, oh, look, they're getting an average of 30 likes, 40 likes a post. Oh, whoa, that one got 300. What about that post's idea is different, unique, interesting, and how can I take it? So it's a bit more manual, but that's the arbitrage that exists. Because it's a bit more manual, you have more opportunity to grow.
Yeah, that's good. And that's interesting to hear that LinkedIn cracked down on SaaS tools. Because recently I was trying to use Manus to go to a competitor's profile and, like, export all the posts and, like, get the engagement, all that. It took, like, hours and hours. It kept crapping out, and I was like, damn it, I could have just done this myself by now.
Yeah.
As you're trying to use AI, then it's like, it's just faster to do it myself if it's not working well. But yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful, but it's okay. The other tools that we use, I'm trying to go through now, is we use Claude. Claude's great for copywriting. I know everyone wants to use AI and copywriting and AI to write your LinkedIn posts. I've found that we use Claude for like client brains. So like we can just chuck in a bunch of files into a project and like use it as like a repository. That's an awesome way to begin to like have a bank. Sounds like you probably use that too then, I'm guessing, for your clients.
Yeah, we use Claude. We made a Claude, a cold email copywriting bot that writes it the way that we like to. And Claude projects are amazing. It's like, if you ever try to make content with AI and been disappointed, it's because you're not using like Claude projects or custom GPTs. Like, it's so much easier when you do that. And then I have one that's for my own, like LinkedIn, that's just like trained on past posts of mine. But is that what you're doing for your clients? You're like you're training it on like their style and having it write posts, or you're just using it as a brain to like ask questions for your team?
Mainly it's using as a brain. So we ask questions, but we can also like take posts and we chuck it in there. Like, hey, does this speak to that person's ICP?
Yeah.
So we can verify, like, is this matching the right pain points, the right symptoms, etc.
But you're still writing it yourself.
Maybe we'll do a first draft at most, but and maybe we'll do like variations on hooks with Claude. But like ultimately speaking, I have found that I'm like all for AI, but I'm still finding that we can write better post-human than we can do with Claude. And I think that's the alpha end of the day. Like Claude can only get so good before like we have to pivot and do something different, and then that starts becoming the new meta tactic available.
Yeah, I think people can feel it. I think for me, like using content or copy with AI, I think it's great for ideation. It's great for like if you have a post and you're like, give me 10 versions of this hook. Just gonna get the ball rolling, right? Or great for a first draft. But if you just rely on it by itself, it's not gonna work very well. And then it's funny though how shameful some people are with AI. Like, you can just see the people's posts littered with emojis and M dashes. It's like, come on, you didn't even try to make this not look like it was AI.
Yeah, I like looking for the AI isms which like not everyone knows about, but like they kind of are like, for example, like it's not this, it's just this.
Yeah,
like, that's like a really classic ism. So if you find that, I'm like, oh, AI, boom, I see what's happening here. And I saw it from
here's the kicker.
I saw it from one of my favorite creators, and I was like, oh no, that's a bit of a shame. I don't know, I felt a bit weird about it.
That is a mixed feeling, right? It's like, oh no, do I still follow this post?
Do I value what you say anymore, or is it like, are you just, I don't know, it was really weird. I was thinking about this quite deeply. Do I value people less and their content if I know that it's coming out from AI, or does it matter if the content's still valuable?
I don't know. Actually, it's funny, I went through the same thing recently because I got a book from a friend, and I was reading it and I was like, oh, this is really written by, like, it was very like clearly written by AI. But I was like, it's still good though. Like, I know it's still his ideas and his knowledge. Like, doesn't matter if AI, because it's kind of like, I guess if you think about it, like someone has someone else ghostwrite for them, it's kind of the same thing. But I don't know. It is a mixed feeling, right?
Yeah, I think it's the feeling that this went out and you didn't edit it.
That for sure.
That's like you didn't notice that this was BS. Like, you didn't notice like this thing, that's especially your piece. Like, if you have a ghostwriter, at least you're like, or at least all my clients, they're reading their post, and I hope they're reading it to the depth that they feel, so they're representing them the best way possible. But I feel like with AI, because it's so easy, it's like, screw it, copy paste, post, move on. And I do that as well, and it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can tell if someone just didn't put much thought behind it. Cool. So then if someone wants to get started with LinkedIn, like, how long should they, what do you think? Just like a post a day? Like, does it make sense to do more than one post a day, or do you find that the reach goes down after a post a day?
Yeah. So, every platform has its own like post lifetimes.
Yeah.
So think about Twitter. Like, Twitter's like 5 tweets a day now, I think, is like the recommended number. Like, every post is like, what, a 2-hour lifetime, a tweet? Which is like very transient. It's very short. On LinkedIn, a post can last a day and up to a week. So like, with that in mind, we post every single weekday, because that gives us like the maximum quota we can attack. And then so some clients will do Monday through Sunday. We'll get the extra impressions on the Saturday and the Sunday, but it's typically a weekday platform. So you want to be aiming for 5 posts a week. For anyone that says, oh my God, that's a lot of posts, it's not. Just do it. It's fine. Trust me. Like, you can ramp up really quickly. There's a lot of impressions up for grabs here. And reminder, like, if you get 1,000 impressions on a post, just remember that people are paying $50, $100 CPM for 1,000 impressions. So that post is worth $50, $100. Like, your time is well spent doing that extra post on LinkedIn.
That's a cool way to look at it. Yeah. And let's say someone's posting for once a week or once a day for like 90 days, like 3 months, 4 months, and they're not really seeing any inbound leads. What would you typically look at? Or like when you're kind of trying to diagnose why something isn't bringing in leads? What are you unpacking there?
So it's we work backwards a little bit. So one is, what are they selling and who are they selling it to? So it might be that it's a really small audience and what they're selling is really niche. And like it's going to, maybe like LinkedIn was never the right channel for them. That could be a thing. Or maybe it was the right channel, but they didn't do it for long enough. Or maybe something else going wrong. So after we work out like, okay, so this is the right channel. Been putting the effort in. Let's look at the post now. Let's look at the offer. Let's look what they're doing. Typically we find is that the posts have always got low impressions. So it's clear that they just haven't got, even though we've been posting for 90 days, they just haven't got into their ICP. They haven't got into their audience. So this is like an algorithm, like I'm not getting organic impressions. If they're getting lots of likes and impressions and they're still not getting leads, it's because they're typically posting for likes and impressions.
Yeah.
And they're optimizing for the wrong event, conversion, whatever it is. They're trying to like optimize for like, vanity metrics. So if they're not getting it, if they're getting lots of likes, you were posting the wrong stuff. If you are getting no likes, you've also been posting the wrong stuff, and we need to fix what you're posting. Until we fix what you're posting, it's very hard to determine what's going wrong. Once you fix what you're posting and be like, okay, look, we're clearly posting about the right things, the right problems, it's the right ICP, then it's a question of, do they find you safe? Do they find you different? And do they find you specific? It might be that you are a really different mechanism. You are really specific to that ICP of SaaS companies, but no one believes anything you're saying.
For sure.
That's a problem. We need to solve that problem. We need to write content that makes you more safe and believable. Or vice versa. Maybe it's like you're really safe. You're like every e-com agency saying, I got a 3x CPA. You're talking to e-com brands, but nothing about you looks different whatsoever. You look like every other e-com agency out there. And if that's you, you're also going to struggle to get leads because you are, an e-com brand can go to 101 agencies right now. It doesn't matter. So you have to do something that's a little bit different to stand out.
For sure. Well, awesome, man. This was great, really insightful, and I love how actionable all your tips are. Like, I think this is a whole little mini masterclass right here for anyone listening to go implement this. But I highly recommend all of you guys get in touch with Aman and work with his agency, because obviously there's a lot to this and a lot to getting it right, and the juice is worth the squeeze, because how powerful LinkedIn is. And obviously Aman has figured it out. So where can people find you if they want to learn more from you or work with your agency?
Easiest thing is to go on LinkedIn and search Aman Ghataura. That's AmanGhataura. Sorry for a long surname. Or just Google the Media Engine or mediaengine.co, and then you'll find us, and then we can have a chat.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, thanks again, man.
Cheers. Thanks so much. Peace.
Hey, I'm AJ Quesada, co-founder of Revenue Boost. Really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, make sure to leave me a comment and definitely subscribe right now so that you're notified of all the cool stuff we're doing, all the cool tactics, tips, and strategies that we share here on the channel. We help B2B companies scale to 7 to 8 figures. We've helped over 400 clients, and we can help you too. And we share some amazing stuff on the channel here. So really hope you enjoyed. And if you do, let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe. All right, back to the video.